Hello, everyone. I am so excited because the audio version of my book is being released finally. I released the first edition in 2009, and it's funny because I remember actually we did this book release party in Venice where I was raised on Abbot Kinney at this art gallery. It was awesome. And my friends had been encouraging me to do a reading at the book release, but I was too shy. Oh, isn't that funny? Ever seen that? For real though, I was way too shy and I didn't do it. I look back, I regret it. So to make up for it, today I am going to do a book reading to celebrate the release of the audio version. You can get a copy of the audio version at our website at iamatreasure.com in the store. It's also available on Amazon, Audible, all the places where audiobooks are sold if you're interested. Okay, I'm going to read it. Are you ready? It's so funny because I share my story quite often, and there's just something for me that feels way more vulnerable about reading it. But I'm going to do it. Here we go. Okay. A man placed $1 at my feet. An unusual feeling of nervousness swept over me. It was the feeling you have in one of those dreams where you're in high school and you realize you forgot to get dressed. You scramble around in vain, looking for something to cover you. It's too late. You have already been exposed. Suddenly, I felt naked, stripped. It took everything in me to keep from running off the stage before the song ended. That is when I noticed them. All of the men staring intensely. They were gawking and leering, consuming me with their eyes. An overweight man with glasses and a pink, smirking face leaned in and placed a $10 bill on the brass rail that surrounded the stage. A man in a white dress shirt sipped his drink. His eyes were beady and black, empty and stealing. These men saw all of me. They knew nothing of me, but they saw all of me. My dress was backstage and there was nothing to cover me, nothing to hide behind. When the song ended, I bolted to the locker room where I opened my locker and stood there gazing at the array of lotions and body sprays like a person looking into a refrigerator and wondering what they should have to eat. What do I want? I asked myself. I took a deep breath, trying to shake the foreboding feeling. My eyes landed on the sticker I had placed inside of my locker to motivate me. Let's make money. I can't quit now, I told myself and God. Besides, Derek wouldn't hear of it. It's just not smart, he would say. Nothing I ever did was smart. I slipped on my little plaid red dress and black heels, dabbed the perspiration from my forehead, and hit the floor. Gliding across the room to the bar, I looked intently at all the customers as a cheetah would her prey. Inhale. Just as I approached a small, sturdy little man from behind, the Prince song, Purple Rain, filled the room, and my heart skipped a beat. I flashed back to the memory of me as an awkward 19-year-old girl who, thinking she had no options, decided to work as an exotic dancer for 2 months. I pictured myself stripping off my little cotton dress and clomping around the stage in my street shoes. Dizzy with nervousness, I kept my balance by clutching the brass poles along the stage. This memory stopped me in my tracks. 3 years later, I was still in the same place, doing the same thing, hoping things would change. I've heard it said that this is the definition of insanity, doing the same thing again and again, expecting different results. How could I quit? It was a vicious cycle. The more money I made, the more I gave to Derek. The more money I gave him, the more he needed me. The more he needed me, the less likely he was to leave me. The less likely I was to have to be alone. Even though I had stopped sleeping with him, I hadn't managed to let him go completely. The loneliness would be unbearable, I told myself. Besides, I would only replace Derek with some other guy who would treat me just as poorly, if not worse. I preferred familiar dysfunction to the unfamiliar. At least I knew what to expect each day. The man in front of me was transfixed by the woman on stage and didn't notice me standing there behind him. He would never know that I was prepared to lead him into the little red booth where I would strip down and take off all my clothes in exchange for a few crumpled up bills. The song enveloped me like a lavender ribbon, wrapping itself around my entire body. I became caught up. by the song, by the moment. I am in this moment, here, now, and in that moment I became aware of my ivory bones and the muscles and tendons wrapped around them, of the blood coursing through my veins, of my heart beating hard inside my chest. Standing on thin, worn carpet, I wobbled slightly on my stilettos. I had paced and strutted across that floor on hundreds of nights before. I began to realize that I had participated in the wearing of the carpet. I had participated in so much more wearing than my mind could comprehend. Slowly, I placed one foot behind the other until I stood at the back of the club. The room seemed to expand and contract all at once. Prince was still singing about purple rain. He was empathizing with me. Honey, I know times are changing. It's time we all reach out for something new. That means you too, he snarled. There was a slideshow in my mind. Derek, me, Gina, the baby, the money, me, God, me, the money, Derek, that car, the pills, me, Derek, God. And there is God. And he is here. Suddenly I saw Nicole in the table dance booth. Her eyes danced around the room. She is disengaged. She is naked. The girl on stage was glancing over her shoulder sheepishly at a man in a suit. She is naked. We are all naked here. I can't quit now, I pleaded silently with God and myself and anyone who would listen. That is when I heard. A small and still voice whispered to the core of my heart and being, I am here. I am with you. I will never leave you. Exhale. He is here. He is with me. He will never leave me. I will never be alone. This is truth. And somehow my ivory bones and my tendons and blood were in harmony as truth resonated throughout my body. Yes, I am caught up in truth, in him. I began to rise. I was already standing, but I began to rise. I lifted my head and eyes as I walked directly over to my manager, Gabe, with his kind, freckled face. I'm leaving. The words were formed awkwardly in my mouth. It was almost a question. For the night, he asked. Forever, I replied. Leaving Gabe dumbfounded and wondering, I walked briskly towards the locker room to pack up my things. Elvia stopped me in the hallway. What's wrong? What's going on? She asked. That's it. I am leaving. I can't take this anymore. I have to get out of here, I rattled off. She grabbed me by the shoulders and looked directly into my eyes. In a calm and sedating voice, she spoke. No, Monique, just go home, get some rest, and come back tomorrow. I pulled away from her grip. No, I'm quitting, I affirmed with growing confidence. In the locker room, I announced that my clothes were for sale. Though confused, the other girls began making offers. Chloe, a slender blonde who spent her days at the beach flirting with surfer boys, had always wanted my long, sheer black dress. $20. Gone. Grace, with her bright red silicone lips and neatly painted eyebrows, grabbed for my slinky little Marilyn Monroe number. $20. Gone. One by one, I got rid of each article of clothing, and with it, a piece of Monique, the identity I created and sold, the woman I dressed up as and pretended to be. Harmony. I am harmony, I thought to myself. I am harmony, and I am leaving. That's a little reading for you. Thank you for letting me share. I hope you guys have a really awesome day. Okay, take care.